We all know what big cities like Chicago consist of: huge buildings, heavy traffic, and mountain lions? You heard that right. Oddly enough, the Chicagoland area has had its fair share of big cat sightings in recent years, despite the differences from their usual stomping grounds. One was reported in northwest suburb Franklin Park 2 weeks ago. River Grove, one town over, is where local dog walker Season Wheatley saw a mountain lion in August of 2018 during a stroll in the woods. So you are quite literally in these woods all the time.
Yep.
All the time. And
Usually between 9 and 4. Well, with my own dog a little bit later, but that's closer to Grand, like closer to River Grove more.
Mm-hmm. And so you had told me before this interview about a very odd incident when you were in these woods and saw a mountain lion.
Yes.
Could you tell me when and where that was?
So it was in August of 2018, and it was right through here, like right after the trail, right as the trail starts, and there's water on both sides. And I was just walking, and there it was really hot. I looked up, there was a big cat-like thing over there, and I was like too shocked to think about switching from my regular camera to, from Snapchat to my regular camera. So I just lifted up and tried to keep going with the recording. And then, my curiosity, like part of me wanted to like stay and look, but then I'm like, okay, all I have is a small thing of pepper spray. And even though my dog is tough, I don't know about him taking on this. So like then we were just like, okay, like we backed, we just turned and started walking away. And when I looked back, it was walking. It never acted aggressively. And like I said, I think it honestly was just off in the shade, close by water, because it was a really hot day. So I think it was just trying to keep cool and probably stopping and having a drink, possibly a snack, I don't know. But I mean, like, it wasn't acting aggressive at all. And we just turned and walked away, and then I contacted the Forest Preserve and told them and sent them the pictures. And they said that they would have their wildlife person out here, and I never heard back from them. But like, I posted on Facebook, and it went from there. Like, other people started talking about seeing things, and then when new people see stuff now, like my old thing pops back up, people have screenshotted it and talk about it.
Wheatley emphasized that these big cats are solitary travelers and would much rather go after smaller prey like baby deer, meaning humans are usually in the clear. With that said, it's easy to get frightened by such a large animal in your local woods, like the one that 40-year River Grove resident Gene Rax saw in June of 2021. So, speaking to you before the interview, you told me about a time where you were in the woods and saw a big cat, a dark-colored big cat, sort of Black Panther-ish. Could you just tell me, like, when and where that was?
Yeah, this was about a summer about 2 years ago. At the time, I was taking my dogs every day to, I think it's Grove 9 to 11 in Schiller Woods. It's like a grove in the back where it's there's less activity. It's more quiet. They have a lot of birds there. There's not that much traffic, and there's about 25-30 feet away from me is like a wooded area. So I'm kind of looking down the driveway. This big animal, I thought it was a dog at first. I looked at it really close. It walked like a big cat. To me, it was black. And to me, it seemed bigger than like a German Shepherd. And it didn't run, it just sort of like walked slowly to the other side of the drive and just went into the wooded area. At that point, I went home and I like posted some people that I post on Facebook. I'm like, I don't know if I'm imagining this, but I saw this animal, and then my friends are like, well, maybe you did, and but I don't think Black Panthers are native to this area. And then one day, we have a patron who used to come in. He was a bird watcher. And he and his daughter would go bird watching in the Schiller Woods. And he told me that his daughter saw the same animal. And then he said, he mentioned it to someone at his health club, and the person at the health club also said they saw it.
The term black panther refers to darkly colored leopards and jaguars, which is the biggest cat in the Americas, according to the Smithsonian Institute. Lucky enough, the big cat that Gene and others spotted was most likely a black puma in reality, which is another term for a dark-coated mountain lion or cougar. Still, how do residents feel hearing about these sightings?
No idea that was, going on around here. That's crazy. Okay, I have dogs. That's probably my only concern is, but that's crazy. Yeah, honestly, that's crazy.
It is. It's very crazy. And so you already mentioned your dog. So I mean, you can elaborate on that if you want. But overall, like, what concerns does this cause you for your lifestyle or any loved ones?
Well, it is a little bit scary to know that a big cat like that is walking around. I'm not so concerned about the humans in my life because I feel like they know just to run away. But at least my dogs, they're a little more aggressive. If they see an animal, I don't know, man. That sketch me out.
Well, I hadn't really heard about it. I'm more concerned about other animals when I run, like dogs, getting away, or even I've seen raccoons, possums, all kinds of other animals around here. So I don't know. I don't usually run through the woods. I'm usually more on the streets, so I don't think I'd feel unsafe. But I guess it would make me stop and think twice.
Would it ever get to a point that this could be an issue that could potentially, like, drive you out of River Grove or just influence you, like, I'd rather live somewhere else?
Yeah, if it became a problem like that, definitely would be something to consider.
I don't know that they're just running around the streets of Chicago. I think maybe we'd hear about it more on the news.
Yeah.
But it is interesting that you brought it up to do some research on it because I really haven't heard about it recently.
I contacted the Cook County Forest Preserve Police Department to ask how reported sightings are handled and why residents haven't been notified of them. Despite leaving 2 messages for the operations manager, I never received a call back. However, I did get to learn about a much more well-known mountain lion that traveled from Montana all the way to Roscoe Village in Chicago in 2008. Sadly, the cougar got publicity from ultimately being cornered and shot down in a nearby alley. Nature Museum exhibit fabricator Jesse Williams worked a block away from the incident and offers an interesting perspective when asked if this made her feel any less safe.
No, I mean, probably, if anything, in the opposite way, thinking about, like, human encroachment on environments and what our impact is on their well-being.
I'm here at the 3400 block of North Hoyne Avenue in Roscoe Village, where the cougar was shot and killed over 15 years ago, making headlines all throughout local news. It makes you wonder, how did it end up here? And could it have been handled without bullets?
The same thing happens with the beaver population in this pond, is that they trap and relocate them so that they don't become a nuisance to the surrounding area. So, I guess that's what I would like to see if this trend continues. But also maybe more nature preserves where maybe it's not that big of an issue if there are mountain lions and things like that. It'd be nice if some of our natural environment returned to its prior state.
In the meantime, visit fs.usda.gov for safety tips to remember if you see a mountain lion, and check online community groups or newsletters for reports in your neighborhood.
But don't sweat it. You'd be fortunate enough to just catch a glimpse of one, especially around Chicago. So if you do, just enjoy the rare privilege, calmly avoid it, and report your sighting. From Chicago, this is Jake Fredrickson, Columbia College, Chicago.